Imagine this, you're in a grocery store, reaching for that well-known red can with the white ribbon logo. It's really warm outside, you're feeling thirsty, and that cold Coca-Cola looks like just the right answer. But what if I told you that this simple act links you to one of the most controversial corporations in modern history? What if that bubbly drink has a bitter taste from hidden secrets, plots, and company cover-ups that go back 100 years? Every day, people drink 1.9 billion servings of Coca-Cola products around the world. Almost 1 out of every 4 people in the world drinks a Coke product every day. But under those happy polar bears and fun songs, there's a story that Coca-Cola doesn't want you to find out. The world's most famous brand has some serious issues, from harmful ingredients and damage to the environment to political tricks and health problems. This might make you reconsider before having another drink. The story of how Coca-Cola was created. To fully understand the controversies about Coca-Cola today, we should look back at its beginnings in 1886 Atlanta, Georgia. The story starts with Dr. John Stith Pemberton, a pharmacist who had a hard time with his own morphine addiction after getting hurt in the Civil War. Pemberton, like many others during his time, was looking for a medicine that could heal different problems and boost energy.
So check this out. It still works, look. And then you pull the Coke out. Is that crazy or what, dude?
Pemberton mixed a syrup in his small lab that had caffeine, sugar, and extracts from the coca plant and cola nut. The coca plant, found in South America, is known for its energizing effects. It's the same plant used to produce cocaine. The cola nut, which comes from Africa, added more caffeine. Pemberton promoted his invention as a medicine, saying it could help with headaches, ease tiredness, and soothe nerves. The name Coca-Cola was created by Pemberton's bookkeeper, Frank Robinson, who believed the 2 C's would look nice in ads. Robinson made the well-known flowing script logo that we still see today. At first, the drink was available at soda fountains for 5 cents a glass, combined with carbonated water. Pemberton wasn't very good at business. He was unwell, struggling with drug use, and really needed cash. In 1888, only 2 years after making Coca-Cola, he sold the rights to his recipe to Asa Griggs Candler for $2,300, about $75,000 today. Pemberton passed away just a few months later, not realizing that his simple syrup would turn into the world's most valuable brand. Candler was all the things Pemberton wasn't. A smart businessman with big ideas. He started the Coca-Cola Company in 1892 and launched strong marketing campaigns. He handed out free samples, shared coupons, and put up Coca-Cola ads wherever he could. By 1895, Coca-Cola was available in all states and territories across the United States. The company grew really fast. In 1899, Candler sold the rights to bottle the drink to 2 businessmen for only $1, believing that bottled drinks would never catch on. This ended up being one of the biggest business mistakes ever, as bottling became the base of Coca-Cola's worldwide success. But even in the beginning, there was some disagreement about the brown liquid. The original formula had cocaine from coca leaves. Not enough to get you high, but enough to make people want more. As people learned more about the dangers of cocaine, the company encountered its first big problem, the cocaine controversy. One surprising thing about early Coca-Cola is that it actually had cocaine in it. Between 1886 and 1903, each glass of Coca-Cola had about 9 milligrams of cocaine. To give you an idea, that's around 1/10 of a usual recreational dose, but it's enough to cause a mild stimulating effect and might lead to dependence. Dr. Harvey Washington Wiley was the main chemist in the US. The Department of Agriculture became Coca-Cola's main opponent during this time. He referred to the drink as dope and worked hard to get it banned. In 1909, the federal government took 40 barrels and 20 kegs of Coca-Cola syrup, saying the drink was dangerous because of its caffeine.
Did you know? Coca-Cola used to have cocaine in its drinks. In the 19th century, Coca-Cola's original formula contained coca leaf extract, which naturally included small amounts of cocaine. At the time, it was marketed as a medicinal tonic to boost energy. The drug was removed from the drink by 1904, due to growing concern.
The company responded strongly, bringing in top lawyers they could afford. They said that caffeine is a natural part of their product and that it is safe to use. At the same time, they started to take cocaine out of their recipe in 1903, but they still used coca leaves that had been treated to get rid of most of the cocaine. This early issue set a trend for Coca-Cola's history. When health worries came up, the company would publicly resist while making subtle changes in the background. They also discovered how to influence politicians and regulators, a skill they would use many times in the years ahead. The cocaine issue showed something key about Coca-Cola's way of doing business. Being addictive made money. Even after taking out cocaine, the company made sure to keep caffeine levels high enough to make people want more. Documents from this time reveal that company leaders knew their product was addictive and viewed this as a way to get ahead of competitors. World War II and the Nazi link. One of the most troubling parts of Coca-Cola's history is its work in Nazi Germany during World War II. While Americans were battling against fascism, Coca-Cola was earning millions by selling drinks to Nazi soldiers and civilians. The story starts in the 1930s when Coca-Cola was well liked in Germany. When the war started, the company had a tough choice: keep working in Nazi areas or stop and lose a lot of money. They picked money instead of doing what's right. Max Keith, who led Coca-Cola's operations in Germany, kept the business running during the war. When the US trade ban stopped Coca-Cola syrup from reaching Germany, Keith made a new drink just for the Nazi market. He named it Fanta, and it became very popular with German people and soldiers. The ingredients for Fanta were made from what was available during wartime rationing, like apple fiber, elderberries, and other fruits. But the real issue wasn't what was in the drink, but who was having it. Fanta was promoted directly to Nazi Germany, featuring ads with cheerful German families enjoying the drink. Coca-Cola also used forced labor in their factories in Germany, which is really surprising. People held as prisoners of war and those in concentration camps were made to help make both Coca-Cola and Fanta. The company made money from slave labor while millions of people were killed during the Holocaust. When the war was over, Coca-Cola quietly brought back its German operations and kept selling Fanta around the world. For many years, the company said it did nothing wrong and wouldn't admit it helped the Nazi regime. Historians found internal documents in the 1990s that showed how much Coca-Cola worked with Nazi Germany. This wasn't only about making money, it was about picking profits instead of people's rights. Other American companies, such as IBM, have been criticized for their ties to the Nazis, but Coca-Cola has mostly avoided public attention regarding this troubling part of its past. The Water Wars. How Coca-Cola takes away. Community's most important resource, water, is the biggest part of Coca-Cola. It makes up around 90% of each bottle. The company's connection to water has led to some of its biggest recent issues. All over the world, Coca-Cola has been blamed for taking water from communities that really need it, leading to droughts and polluting local water sources. A well-known case took place in Plachamata, India, a little farming village in the state of Kerala. In 2000, Coca-Cola set up a bottling plant that used a huge amount of groundwater, as much as 1.5 million liters each day. The company took out a lot of water, causing local wells to start running dry. Farmers were unable to water their crops, and families had to travel long distances to get clean drinking water. The water theft was just one part of the issue. The Coca-Cola plant gave its waste sludge to nearby farmers, saying it was good fertilizer. The sludge had high amounts of cadmium and lead, which harmed the soil and made it hard to grow crops. The groundwater got polluted with chemicals that led to serious health issues for the local people. People living nearby, guided by a woman called My Lama, started to protest outside the Coca-Cola factory. They created a lasting demonstration that went on for years, with villagers taking turns to be there around the clock. The protest got noticed around the world, and famous people like Michael Moore backed the cause. In 2014, after 14 years of protests and legal fights, Coca-Cola had to close the Plachamata plant, but the harm was already done. The water supply was used up, the ground was polluted, and many people had serious health issues. This wasn't just a one-time thing. There are similar stories from Mexico, where Coca-Cola factories have caused serious water shortages in areas that are already dry. In San Cristobal de las Casas, Mexico, a company takes out more than 300,000 gallons of water every day, while local people struggle with water shortages and need to buy bottled water that is pricier than gasoline. In El Salvador, people have accused Coca-Cola of using up their water during tough droughts. The company keeps running bottling plants that use a lot of water every day, while local people have a hard time finding enough clean water for their basic needs. Coca-Cola's reaction to these issues has been the same. They say they are not at fault, insist their practices are eco-friendly, and start campaigns to promote water saving. At the same time, they keep building new bottling plants plants in areas around the world that have water shortages. The health conspiracy. One of the most concerning things about Coca-Cola today is how the company has influenced scientific studies to downplay the health risks of its products. For many years, Coca-Cola has paid for studies, swayed researchers, and shared misleading information about how sugar and obesity affect health. The story starts in the 1960s when scientists first connected eating sugar to heart disease, diabetes, and obesity. The sugar industry, along with Coca-Cola, was facing a possible problem. If everyone realized that sugar is harmful, sales would drop significantly. Coca-Cola decided to pay for scientific studies that would take the focus off sugar. In 1967, the company quietly paid Harvard researchers to publish a study that pointed to fat, not sugar, as the cause of heart disease. This study shaped dietary guidelines for many years and contributed to the low-fat diet trend that led people to eat more sugar. Documents from 2016 showed how much Coca-Cola affected scientific research. From 2010 to 2015, the company donated $1.7 million to researchers and health groups. This was only the beginning. The company started a group named the Global Energy Balance Network, which suggested that exercise mattered more than diet for managing weight. You can enjoy as much Coca-Cola as you like. Just remember to stay active. This advice overlooked many years of scientific proof that diet plays a much bigger role than exercise in keeping a healthy weight. Coca-Cola also paid for studies that looked into whether sugary drinks are connected to obesity. They hired researchers to write papers saying that there wasn't strong proof that drinking soda led to weight gain. These studies were made to cause uncertainty and confusion among the public. The company had a big impact on important health groups. Many organizations like the American Academy of Pediatrics, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, and the American Heart Association got millions of dollars from Coca-Cola. These organizations were hesitant to clearly criticize sugary drinks or suggest strict limits on how much people should drink. When independent researchers released studies about the risks of sugary drinks, Coca-Cola responded strongly. They paid for studies that went against each other, criticized the researchers personally, and used their power with health groups to undermine research they didn't like. The tobacco industry used the same tricks for many years to cover up the risks of smoking. Similar to how tobacco companies paid for studies to question the connection between smoking and cancer, Coca-Cola has supported research to cast doubt on the relationship between sugar and illness. Environmental damage. The company is among the biggest plastic polluters in the world, significantly impacts climate change, and harms natural ecosystems. But many people don't know about the environmental impact of their favorite drink. Let's talk about plastic pollution. Coca-Cola makes more than 100 billion plastic bottles each year. That's over 3,000 bottles every second. The company makes more plastic waste than any other brand, causing a lot of pollution in the oceans. You can find their bottles and caps on beaches and in ocean areas all over the world. Even though there were promises to boost recycling, under 10% of Coca-Cola's plastic bottles are really turned into new bottles. The rest go to landfills, incinerators, or the environment, where they can take a long time to break down. The company has also pushed back against attempts to cut down on plastic waste. When cities want to stop plastic bottles or start bottle deposit programs, Coca-Cola spends a lot of money trying to fight these ideas. They choose to keep making inexpensive plastic bottles instead of putting money into better packaging options. Climate change is a big concern. Coca-Cola makes millions of tons of carbon dioxide each year. The company runs many bottling plants, delivery trucks, and refrigeration units that use a lot of energy. The main environmental effect comes from making sugar, which needs a lot of water, fertilizer, and land. The palm oil found in some Coca-Cola products is linked to deforestation in Southeast Asia and Africa. The company's sugar suppliers are connected to the damage of rainforests and wetlands. In Brazil, sugarcane farms that provide Coca-Cola have been set up on land cleared from the Amazon rainforest. Coca-Cola's impact on the environment is especially poor in developing countries, where rules about the environment are not as strong. The company is said to be polluting rivers, harming forests, and adding to air pollution in countries in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. The most annoying part of Coca-Cola's effect on the environment is how avoidable it is. The company might change to better packaging, cut down on sugar, and put money into renewable energy. However, making these changes would require spending money and might lower profits, so they stick to their regular way of doing business while promoting their sustainability efforts through public relations campaigns. The Killer Coke campaign. One of the most surprising claims about Coca-Cola is that they were involved in the murder of trade union leaders in Colombia. Reports from lawsuits and human rights groups say that Coca-Cola bottling plants in Colombia have used paramilitary groups to scare, hurt, and kill workers who want to form unions. The story is about Isidro Segundo Gil, a union leader who worked at a Coca-Cola bottling plant in Carepa, Colombia. In 1996, Gil was helping workers come together to ask for better pay and working conditions when he was killed by right-wing paramilitaries. His death was part of a larger wave of violence against trade union members at Coca-Cola factories across Colombia. Court documents and witness statements show that Coca-Cola managers teamed up with paramilitary groups to get rid of union organizers. The paramilitaries would hurt and kill union leaders, then scare other workers to stop them from joining unions. Sometimes the killings happened on company grounds and the plant managers knew about it. Luis Eduardo Garcia, a union leader, was taken and hurt by paramilitaries who warned him to stop helping workers or he would end up like Gil. Garcia made it through but had to escape Colombia with his family. The violence wasn't just in Colombia. There have been similar claims about Coca-Cola's actions in Guatemala, where union leaders have faced murder or threats. In Turkey, people who help organize workers at Coca-Cola have been jailed and harmed for their efforts. The Killer Coke campaign started because of these cases. It is a worldwide boycott movement that has received backing from universities, human rights groups, and labor unions everywhere. The campaign has recorded many instances where Coca-Cola workers or union organizers have faced threats, attacks, or even death. Coca-Cola has always said they are not involved in any violence against workers. The company says that its bottling work is done by independent contractors and that Coca-Cola does not control how they handle their labor practices. Some people say that Coca-Cola has a lot of power over its bottlers and could end the violence if it chose to. The killings in Colombia are still happening today. In 2018, union leaders at Coca-Cola plants face threats and attacks. The company keeps working in areas where paramilitaries are present, and employees still deal with threats when they try to organize. Fun facts and tips. Aside from the big controversies, there are many interesting and surprising facts about Coca-Cola that many people are unaware of. These go from funny to concerning, but all show something important about the world's most well-known brand. One Coca-Cola says that just 2 people in the world know the full recipe for Coke, and that the recipe is stored in a vault in Atlanta. This doesn't make any sense. Many companies have made similar drinks, and the formula has been figured out many times. The secret formula story is just a marketing trick meant to make the product look more interesting and worth more. 2 farmers in rural India found that Coca-Cola works well as a pesticide. They use it on their plants to get rid of bugs because it's less expensive than store-bought pesticides and works just as well. The sugar draws in insects, and the phosphoric acid gets rid of them. This brings up important questions about what these chemicals are doing in our body.
Of course, both cola companies can take heart that they are not utterly useless. Farmers in northern Lucknow use them as pesticides, and it's cost advantageous too. For while pesticides cost about $20 to $30, spraying their fields with colas cost only about $6 to $8.
3 Coca-Cola didn't create the modern look of Santa Claus, but they sure made it popular. Before Coca-Cola's ads in the 1930s, Santa was usually shown as thin, tall, or dressed in various colors. The artist Haddon Sundblom made the cheerful, red-suited Santa we recognize today just for Coca-Cola ads. Even now, Coca-Cola has small traces of cocaine residue. The company still includes coca leaves in its formula, but a chemical company in New Jersey processes them to take out most of the cocaine, but small amounts are still there. Not enough to have any effects, but enough to be detected in advanced chemical tests. 5. Some Coca-Cola ads have been said to have hidden sexual images in ice cubes. The company says this isn't true, but marketing experts have found what look like sexual images hidden in the ice in different print ads. These images might affect how people shop, even if it's not on purpose. 6. The phosphoric acid in Coca-Cola makes it surprisingly good for cleaning. It can take away rust from metal, clean up burnt pans, and even take off paint. Some folks use it to clean their toilets, or get rid of oil stains from clothes. If it can clean metal and take off paint, what is it doing to your teeth and stomach lining? 7. If you put Mentos candy into Coca-Cola, it makes a big splash of foam. This occurs because the bumpy surface of the Mentos creates spots for the carbon dioxide in the Coke to form bubbles. The reaction is really strong strong and can send foam flying several feet up into the air. This shows how much carbon dioxide is in every bottle of Coke.
This is Coke versus Mentos. Whoa! Whoa! Woo! Woo! Whoa! Woo! All right, this is a big boy, 2 liters.
8-1 can of Coca-Cola has 39 grams of sugar, which is around 10 teaspoons. The acid in Coke is really strong and can start breaking down tooth enamel just 20 minutes after you drink it. Dentists say that people who drink a lot of Coke often have teeth that look really damaged.
I'm getting hints of caramel, vanilla, orange, cherry, making it one of my favorite drinks and one of the most refreshing things to ever have on a hot day. But after 7 days have passed, this is what our tooth now looks like. Completely stained to the point that it's almost black, and the Coke is starting to eat away at the enamel of the tooth. Let me know what we should try next.
A 9-ounce can of Coca-Cola has 34 milligrams of caffeine, which is similar to a cup of green tea, but the company includes more caffeine than what is naturally found in cola nuts. This extra caffeine is meant to make people want more Coke and feel a bit dependent on it. 10 Coca-Cola is available in 200 countries worldwide, which is more than the total number of countries in the United Nations. You can buy Coca-Cola in almost every country except for Cuba and North Korea. This is mainly due to trade restrictions from the US. Coca-Cola is one of the most available products for people all around the world. What Coca-Cola actually does to your body. Knowing what happens when you drink Coca-Cola is important for making smart choices about your health. You'll start feeling the effects just a few minutes after your first sip, and they can stick around for hours. Here's what actually goes on in your body when you drink a Coke. The first 10 minutes, you feel a big burst of energy from the sugar. Your body gets 39 grams of sugar, which is over the daily limit suggested for adults. Your blood sugar goes up a lot, causing your pancreas to release a lot of insulin. After 15 to 20 minutes, the caffeine starts to work, helping you feel awake and full of energy. Your eyes get bigger, your heart works harder, and your liver starts turning more sugar into fat. The phosphoric acid in Coke begins to harm your tooth enamel. After 30 minutes, your blood sugar starts to drop as insulin takes away the extra glucose from your blood. You might begin to feel tired and want another sugary drink to boost your energy. This is where the sugar addiction cycle starts. After 40 minutes, your body has taken in all the caffeine, which might make you feel jittery or anxious if you are sensitive to stimulants. Your blood pressure might still be high, and you could have trouble focusing. After 60 minutes, the phosphoric acid sticks to calcium, magnesium, and zinc in your digestive system, stopping your body from taking in these important nutrients. You might feel a drop in energy from sugar, making you feel tired and hungry. Drinking Coca-Cola regularly has been connected to many serious health issues. People who drink soda regularly have much higher rates of type 2 diabetes. The high sugar levels make it hard for your body to handle glucose like it should, which can cause insulin resistance as time goes on. Being overweight is another big issue. Coca-Cola has empty calories. It gives you energy, but doesn't have any important nutrients. Your body doesn't see liquid calories like it does solid food, so you won't feel full after having a Coke. This results in eating too many calories and gaining weight. Drinking regular soda often raises the risk of heart disease. Too much sugar can cause swelling in your arteries, and caffeine and salt can increase your blood pressure. Research indicates that individuals who consume one soda daily face a 20% increased risk of heart attack. Coca-Cola can harm bone health because its phosphoric acid makes it harder for the body to absorb calcium. People who drink a lot of soda tend to have lower bone density and more fractures, particularly women. Having dental issues is likely if you drink regular Coke often. When sugar and acid mix, they make it easy for tooth decay to happen. Lots of dentists can tell if someone drinks a lot of soda just by checking their teeth. The red and white Coca-Cola logo is one of the most well-known symbols in history. This brand has been around for over 100 years and means more than just a soft drink. It stands for American culture, global business, and how marketing can influence people. However, as we've looked at in this essay, the story behind that well-known logo is much more complicated and concerning than many people think. Coca-Cola started as a medicine with cocaine in it and has become a big health issue today. Its history has many controversies that the company would rather you not remember. Remember, the proof is clear. This company has always picked profits instead of people, shareholders instead of communities, and advertising instead of doing what's right. The company has used paramilitary groups in Colombia, worked with Nazi Germany during World War II, taken water from very poor communities, changed scientific studies to downplay health risks, and spent a lot of money to make people believe that their harmful products bring joy and refreshment. When you buy a can of Coca-Cola, you help support these practices. Every dollar you spend on their products supports their lobbying, their misleading ads, and their ongoing push against real change. When you pick Coca-Cola, you're not just getting a drink, you're showing support for a certain way you think companies should act in the world. It's up to you to decide. Now that you know the facts about Coca-Cola, you can decide if you want to keep supporting this company. You can decide to focus on your health, the planet, and fairness instead of the short-term enjoyment of a sweet drink. The best part about this choice is that you have complete control over it. Coca-Cola is a big company with lots of money and power, but they still rely on you to buy their drinks. If many people decide to stop buying Coca-Cola, the company will have to change or deal with lower profits. This is not only about a single company or a single product, it's about the type of world we want to build with our everyday decisions. Should we back companies that focus only on making money, or should we support businesses that think about their effects on people's health, the environment, and fairness in society? The next time you're in the grocery store, grabbing a cold drink, keep in mind what you've learned. Don't forget the farmers in India whose wells went dry. Don't forget the union leaders in Colombia who were killed for asking for fair pay. Don't forget the scientists who were paid to mislead us about sugar and health. Think about the Nazi soldiers who enjoyed Fanta while countless people suffered in concentration camps. Now, go ahead and pick what you want. You have the power, and everyone is paying attention to your choices. Your health, your community, and your planet are worth more than Coca-Cola.